Hello there, my friends, and welcome to part one of another episode of The Spiritual Skeptic by the Daily Drunk Mag. Today we'll be talking about a topic that'll most likely make you think, okay, now I'm actually going to unsubscribe from this podcast. I had already been considering it, but this is the last straw, Seth, and frankly, I get it. You could also be thinking, Seth, what are you talking about? No one subscribes to your podcast, which would also be a fair thought, if not slightly insulting. But I get it. You could also be thinking, Seth, stop trying to guess what I'm thinking. It's none of your business anyway. But just to remind you, no one subscribes to your podcast, which really would be an unnecessary slap in the face at that point. But I get it. Or you could be thinking, Jesus, Seth, are you going to fucking tell us why we're going to unsubscribe from your podcast? The joke is over. Well, I'm glad you asked, voice in my head, because the only reason you'd actually consider bailing on this podcast is because today we're going to deep dive into some conspiracy theories. It's one thing to talk about aliens, which in and of itself is a conspiracy theory, but it's another thing to be like, goddamn government's a lie. I don't know what accent that was, but the point is, I'm all about a good rabbit hole, and today we're going to chase that fine rabbit tail. That's goddamn right, y'all. We're chasing those conspiracy theories. It's like KFC, those damn conspiracies. Finger licking good. Okay, I also don't know what that was, but quick question, listener. What the hell is a rabbit hole anyway? I say it all the time in this podcast, but do rabbits even dig holes? Fucking carrot-eating pricks. TLDR, we're about to get weird today, my friends. I hope you'll stick around for the journey. As you've hopefully learned by now, a lot of what I reference in this podcast comes directly from the Family of Taygeta. I've explained the Family of Taygeta like 4,000 times, so if you don't know who they are, then I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Well, I guess not listening, which is fair. You're allowed to spend your time as you desire. But let it be known, this is the last time I'm going to fully explain them. For the purposes of this episode, it's important you understand our Family of Taygeta amigos, so pay attention, banana head. I'm sorry, you're not a banana head. So, the Family of Taygeta is comprised of two Pleiadian starseeds named Cabal and Judith, who provide disclosure mostly about extraterrestrials. Judith is clairvoyant and allegedly can communicate with Pleiadian extraterrestrials, who she claims are her alien family. Apparently, she and her son Cabal, or Cobb for short, have come to Earth with a mission to assist humanity. Meanwhile, the rest of their alien family remains in their home world, watching over Earth and communicating specifically with Judith. A lot of this communication comes in the form of messages that are specifically meant to be shared with humans. The content of these messages ranges from advice and wisdom to disclosure about alien races on undiscovered planets or even government conspiracy theories, but they're always shared in a thoughtful, almost gentle manner. So basically, Judith and Cobb are essential liaisons between aliens and humans. And these messages are only a small part of the content they share, mainly through Cobb's Twitter. But their website, familyoftageta.com, is also packed with fascinating, mind-blowing shit. Let it be known that tons of people on the internet claim to be alien contactees. But I truly think they are one of, if not the only legit ones out there. Let it also be known that my saying that truly holds no merit whatsoever. But that's my hot take in the alien world. The only legitimate alien contactees you can find online are the Family of Taygeta. Famous last words, am I right? Continuing, the Pleiadians apparently played a founding role in creating something called the Galactic Federation, which is a group of extraterrestrials who look out for humanity and sort of govern the universe. Apparently, Judith and Cobb's family were the specific aliens that formulated this essential United Nations of the universe. If this is actually true, Cobb and Judith are profoundly important people, and really, gods among us. Or they're running a cult, which, not to further invalidate my sanity, but if I'm being honest, I'd totally join that cult. Judith and Cobb also receive a lot of verification and insight, especially when it comes to UFO sightings. For example, if there's a popular UFO video, Judith will communicate with her Pleiadian family to find the truth out, shedding light on who is operating the craft, what they're doing, and why. Anytime there's a really popular UFO video, you can probably find an explanation on Cobb's Twitter. Cobb is more front and center compared to Judith, and he's active on Twitter basically 24/7. not only providing disclosure, but also sharing his personal opinions and answering a lot of questions. A lot of what he posts really seems to trigger people too. Don't get me wrong, you don't exactly see humans behaving as their best selves on Twitter, especially under anonymous usernames, but people often do not like what Cabal posts. But I get it. Aliens can be a challenging concept for people to accept. And shit, we all need a Snickers sometimes, don't we? One of the main topics Cobb posts about that's particularly cuckoo bananas is clones, like human clones. Sorry, that just felt right. But again, this is the part of the podcast where we truly get fucking weird. It's finally time, amigos. It's time to talk about cloning. I'd like to quickly point out that everything I'm about to share has come from my own research. As the old saying goes, you can believe everything you read on the internet. But it's worth mentioning that I'm most certainly not a contactee, and I don't have any inside information. I can tell you, however, that I'm a ginger and I sunburn quite easily, which I have a feeling made you respect me a lot more than you already did. Nailed it. Regardless, do I fully believe everything I'm about to tell you? It's really hard to say that I do. But do I find it fascinating? You're goddamn right I do. I previously discussed this in my episode about Zeta Gray aliens, but it all starts with the Grays. Those sneaky little fuckers. The Family of Taygeta disclosed that during the 1950s, President Eisenhower met with the Greys, and the government, driven by the Cabal, made an agreement that in exchange for the Greys' cloning technology, they would be free to abduct and experiment on humans as they pleased. And that began years of sightings and abductions by Grey aliens. You can learn more about that crazy shit in my Greys episode. I also realized while putting this episode together that the term Cabal, which I've seen repeatedly from the Family of Taygeta, actually lends itself to QAnon conspiracies, which is, a hair alarming. But hey, we're diving down all the foxholes today, people. That's right, my friends. We are exploring all the hole-digging animals. Why should rabbits have all the damn fun? Carrot-eating bricks. On Wikipedia, it says, quote, followers of the QAnon conspiracy theory use the Cabal to refer to what is perceived as a secret, worldwide elite organization who, according to proponents, wish to undermine democracy and freedom and implement their own globalist agendas. Now, if this is actually true, then it seems members of the Cabal often have government ties. And as we'll explore, cloning is a tool they allegedly use to gain societal advantages. Now, before we continue, I need to acknowledge one more time how truly insane this sounds. Or as my friend Hank once said to me after we conversed about this, quote, I mean no disrespect by saying this, Seth, but you need heavy doses of medication. The key to that statement, however, is he said no disrespect. That's a rule we have. It does not matter what is said as long as you use the term no disrespect. You cannot take it personally. No disrespect, Hank, but you're a fat loser and you have body odor. See? It's a bulletproof philosophy. That was also a subtle reference to the School of Rock. It's definitely concerning that I often rely on the Family of Taygeta for disclosure, knowing they align with any QAnon conspiracy theories, but I'm overcommitted at this point. So whether I need heavy doses of medication or not, we must continue. To start, Cobb frequently talks about how many famous politicians and even celebrities are clones or have clones. For example, he used to talk a lot about the real Joe Biden being dead, and the Biden we were seeing publicly was actually a clone. Apparently, that's why he was so frequently acting strange or almost malfunctioning. I do remember there was a speaking engagement, and when Biden finished, he turned around and went to shake someone's hand, but no one was behind him, and then he stood there for like 10 seconds with his hand out, staring at no one. I always assumed these moments from Biden were probably dementia, like, a normal person, but we are far past normal, my friends. Also, for what it's worth, I'm not hating on Biden. My wife and I voted for Biden. I'm just badger holing people. So allegedly, the two most common clone scenarios are, 1, a politician or celebrity dies or is murdered and is replaced with a clone to push an agenda or to make money. Or 2, a celebrity or politician knowingly has a clone made for money-driven motivations. The first time I was really struck by the concept of a celebrity clone was when Cobb posted on Twitter that Will Smith has a clone, and it was his clone that slapped Chris Rock. Quote, "Human clones have shown unexpected outbursts and short tempers. What happened to Will Smith at the Oscars wasn't planned for ratings. Why would he ruin his own reputation? I believe we've been seeing his clone in public for some time." It's a pretty incredible concept to imagine having a clone and being like, dude, I really don't feel like going to the Oscars. I'm sending my clone. Then you wake up the next morning and the clone has effectively ruined your life. I don't need a clone for that, thankfully. Just this podcast. It is often said that signs of a new clone are black eyes or a walking boot you might wear after a foot injury. Speaking of this, another celebrity Cobb identified as having a clone was Madonna. Regarding Madonna, Cobb wrote, "Some celebs have unfortunate plastic surgery, some celebs get black eyes playing sports, and some celebs are sold on immortality without understanding the soul can't be copied." He subsequently shared a 2019 quote from Madonna that said, "Once you sell your soul, you're not allowed to ask for it back." Obviously, that can mean a million things. An 8th grader could post that on TikTok and dance to it, referring to a tumultuous relationship from 6th grade summer. But we're just exploring prairie dog holes, people. It's more annoying than it is funny at this point, but I'm way too committed. Another celebrity example Cobb posted about in 2021 was Zac Efron. There were side-by-side photos of him, and in one of the photos, his face appeared quite puffy. The caption read, "Many feel Zac Efron's face appears noticeably different during a virtual Earth Day celebration alongside Bill Nye and Justin Bieber." The fuck is a virtual Earth Day celebration? Either way, Cobb posted a TikTok clip of Zac Efron talking about his decision to respond to rumors that he had plastic surgery next to a screenshot of a comment from that video with 13,000 likes that said, "Is this one of those things where they are fronting a clone?" So even Gen Z TikTokers are down the gopher hole, people. Do me a favor and tuck that away on the imaginary bulletin board for a bit. These clones are not exact replicas and don't look exactly like the original. In fact, all clones often have similar traits, such as a puffy face. A final interesting name Cobb dropped was Tom Cruise, and in one specific tweet he wrote, "What if Tom Cruise never risked his life for movies or put himself in any danger, but instead sent an identical stunt double to the set on those days?" Well, my friends, that would just be betrayal. Tom, you beautiful bastard, you wouldn't do that to us, would you? That concept isn't that far off from the movie The Island. The Island is a Michael Bay movie that came out in 2005 that got terrible reviews. I haven't seen it since high school, but when I first saw it, I loved it. But it's also worth noting that I also loved that Nickelback song that went, "Look at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh." So it seems 18-year-old Seth couldn't be trusted. Anyway, the premise is that rich people pay to have clones harvested in case of emergency. So if you need a kidney transplant, you have healthy clone organs waiting for you. The clones are fully conscious and have no idea. They are childlike and convinced they're the last humans on what is a planet Earth that's fallen apart while living in a siloed underground bunker. However, when they're called upon to exit their underground facility, it's a time of celebration as they think they've won the lottery and are going to a special place called the Island that's an oasis where humanity is slowly being rebuilt. In reality, they're about to be murdered to service an ailing client. If that doesn't sell you, then you should know that it features a young Scarlett Johansson and Ewan McGregor. And what more could you want than that? And if you're wondering who I'm more sexually attracted to, I'm sorry to my wife, but it's obviously a young Ewan McGregor. Fuck off, Scarlett. That's something I never imagined I'd say in this podcast, but I'm rolling with it. Fuck off, Scarlett. Speaking of Scarlett, the Family of Taygeta has previously said the following celebrities have or are clones: Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Adele, Lady Gaga, Kanye West, Beyonce, Alyssa Milano, Joy Behar, Gayle King, Whoopi Goldberg, Jim Carrey, Robert De Niro, Johnny Depp, Bette Midler, Nicole Kidman, Tom Hanks, Zac Efron, Rob Reiner, and Ryan Seacrest. Quick pause. I know what I just said is fucking insane. I know. Beyonce has a clone? Come on. I paid an unspeakable amount of money for my wife to see Beyonce for her birthday. Beyonce is my wife's favorite artist. Directly in front of me as I record this fucking podcast is a book about Beyonce that my wife spent way too much money on from Barnes & Noble's titled The Little Book of Beyonce. Hell, we even chose a Beyonce song as the final song for our wedding. Cuff it, in case you were wondering. Beyonce can't be a clone, or have one. Rather, Hank was right. I need heavy doses of medication. Suffice to say, famous musicians having clones struck quite the chord. And I know it all sounds batshit, but I only had one choice. Continue down the goddamn squirrel hole. And that led to some interesting tweets from Cobb posted in 2017 about the music industry. He noted that the music industry is, of course, one of the most lucrative ways to make money. And because of this, individuals with not so nice agendas will often cozy up to highly successful musicians. More money, more problems. Feel me? I'll never do that again. One particular musician Cobb briefly touched on was Britney Spears. He talked about an album she self-recorded in 2005 that was canceled for unknown reasons. Dun dun dun. Seriously though, the lead song on that album was supposed to be titled Mona Lisa, and one lyric read, "She wants you to know she's been cloned, she's been cloned, she's been cloned." The song was later released on a bonus CD, but a lot of the darker lyrics were changed. I know one lyric doesn't substantiate Britney Spears being a clone. It's just a tortoise hole, people. Do not question me. I did my research. Tortoises dig holes, motherfucker. Cobb also references her highly publicized mental breakdown in 2007, and similar to Will Smith's uncharacteristic freakout before slapping Chris Rock, Cobb insinuated this meltdown, in which she was famously photographed attacking some paparazzi by smashing their car with an umbrella after inexplicably shaving her hair off, was in fact the actions of a Britney clone. Cobb also tweeted, "Drugs are often used and mind control is common." I don't even know what the fuck mind control is. Continuing, Kanye, Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, and others have clones, and these are used often to perform when the person can't keep up. So while some of these celebrities might have clones to make life easier if they're hungover one morning, others, it seems, are forced to cooperate, and when they don't, a clone that can be controlled is manufactured and the real person might be killed. Also, Britney was famously under a conservatorship for many years that drove fans insane. So if I had to guess, the real Britney is still alive and has spent most of her life under the control of sketchy-ass people that were so hungry for money, they cloned Britney and had her and the real Britney performing as often as possible. That's all just speculation, of course. Now, a non-musician in this realm is Jim Carrey. A pretty famous clip worth watching is Jim Carrey's 2014 appearance on Jimmy Kimmel. Carrey came out pretty heated and kept putting up the alleged Illuminati sign with his hands, which looks like a triangle, and he was sticking his tongue through it, which was intended to mock the Illuminati. He then started to talk to the audience about the Illuminati, which is essentially an interchangeable term with the Cabal, and Jimmy Kimmel was noticeably uncomfortable. It's been theorized that audience laughter was added to this clip when in fact no one was laughing. A top comment on one of the YouTube videos of the clips reads, "My dad was there. There was no laughter there. It was added to cover it up. Thanks to Jim for putting his life in danger to say this." Of course, we have no idea whether that comment is true, and scrolling through the comments show that several other people had actually commented the same exact thing. So it's very likely a bunch of sick-in-the-head catfishes are hunting for likes on this Jim Carrey video for whatever reason. That actually does remind me of this one time I was watching an audition video from the show X Factor. I used to spend hours watching audition videos. There's just something about those videos when an unknown hits the stage, everyone thinks they're going to suck, and then they sing like a god. That just gets the old waterworks going. One particular audition that always got me was by Josh Krajic in 2011. He comes out and looks like a very regular dude, maybe a little bit schlubby, shaggy hair, not seeming entirely serious. And when Simon asks him what he does for work, he playfully says he slings burritos, but the joke doesn't land. The audience kind of rolls their eyes, and it seems clear the audition is about to be a train wreck, but it turns out he's an unbelievable singer. And while he's singing, the camera pans to a woman in the audience watching with her mouth agape with this mixture of shock and awe. In the comments, someone pointed out that girl and said she was attractive, and the alleged girl in the video responded and thanked him with a smiley emoji. I remember thinking, wow, what are the odds? And then someone replied to that comment and said, dude, you're a 40-year-old man. And I clicked on the girl's profile and it was in fact a random dude. And that was the first time I was basically catfished. Perhaps a bit naive of me to believe the comment, but also what's the motivation there? Like, I remember being angry. I'm still angry. Why was this 40-year-old dude accepting this compliment like he was a young blonde woman? What are you doing? I guess it's like I said earlier. You really can believe everything you read on the internet. Forgive the tangent, but regarding Jim Carrey's appearance on Kimmel, Cobb noted, this interview is why he was murdered and replaced. They gave him a choice of going to prison for his girlfriend's overdose or be controlled. He chose cloning. They killed him anyway and made him a hateful puppet. I know everything I just said is insane. Taylor Swift mind control, spare musician clones, Jim Carrey and the Illuminati, catfish YouTube comments, the real Jim Carrey is dead and the remaining one is an angry clone. Come on. What are we even doing here? None of this makes sense, but we shall continue down the cricket hole, my friend. That's right, you skeptical fuckers. Mole crickets, dig holes. So we know the Greys gave humans the technology to clone, which really just goes to show you how crazy alien technology is. And that's just an appetizer. But how are they keeping up with this clone charade? Here's a message Judith shared via her alien homies that I edited into a more SparkNotes friendly version. Quote, the science of cloning has been rampant in your lifetime. There are over 1 billion clones operating in your awareness. 1 billion? 1 billion? That's what? 1 out of every 8 people? My wife better not be a clone, damn it. There is always a purpose or agenda in place for the creation of each clone. With unlimited financial resources available, many celebrities have joined with handlers, more on this phrase, handler in a moment, to receive greater status as the creators of the clone also become more wealthy. Many singers and dancers, as well as actors, hosts, and politicians have more than one clone available to maneuver their way to power and notoriety. I just taught you about this before, by the way, so keep up, knucklehead. The actions of these creators are reckless as they experiment with the product as well as toying with all the lives that must endure this charade. I've always wondered how families would deal with a potential clone situation. Dad, is that you? God damn it, it's the clone. Well, at least Clone Dad makes a mean chicken parmesan. Characteristics with hair, eye color, age, and form are programmed and adjusted. Many politicians have been noted to have looks with different hairlines, nose, ear size, and even varying heights. The creators are hoping that you do not notice. John Fetterman is an example Cobb shares where the clone truly looks quite different. Many clones have ongoing repairs by way of the eyes, the ankle region, and the feet, as mentioned before. These are areas where surgery and openings can be disguised and hidden with sunglasses and boots. This is a common method used by handlers, and they scramble to hide clones during the period of many adjustments. There are facilities around the world where clones are produced and kept. China has the largest production, and they have purchased land throughout the United States to direct operations in new facilities. I know, by the way. This is insane. I'm not saying I believe it, I'm not, but god damn it, we must continue down this porcupine hole. The first part to address from that message is the phrase handlers. It seems clones have handlers or people helping to dictate their movement and actions, almost like a service dog helping a blind man. A well-known example of an infamous theoretical handler was a man named Todd Madison. Todd was actually identified by the media in a 2016 Fox News report as an alleged handler to a clone of Hillary Clinton. I edited part of what they reported for clarity since it was conversational, but they said, quote, he is called the mystery man. He's the mystery handler, actually. We don't dabble in conspiracy theories on this program, but we ask this question, who is he? If he's actually a member of the Secret Service detail guarding Hillary Clinton, why is he touching her? Because he did. He came up on the stage the other day and put his arm around her and then said, keep talking. That's not what the Secret Service is supposed to do, is it? I couldn't resist the opportunity to properly whip out the old English accent one more time. That was a long paragraph, though. That shit is hard to keep up.
This fucking shit again. Right. It's all in the R's, yeah? You touch someone on the arm. Service, not service. Give that a spin next time, yeah? Might be less embarrassing for you. At least a little bit, anyway. Fucking Yankee Doodle tit.
Anyway, the moment they're referring to was on August 4th, 2016 at a Hillary Clinton rally. Hillary basically froze and was just saying nothing, and Todd rushed the stage and could be heard saying through her mic, "Keep talking, keep talking." After being identified by the media, Todd mysteriously died in 2016. There was also a strange interview Hillary did on BuzzFeed's former Another Round podcast, where she talks about being made in a garage. If you're already down the Earth wormhole, just ignore me at this point, you're better off. It was insane to listen to this interaction. Heben, one of the interviewers, says early on in the episode to Hillary, quote, "In preparation for this interview, I watched a lot of your interviews and I noticed you never sweat, like physically." Tracy, her co-host, adds, "We are the sweatiest humans on the planet." Heben then says, "I've done like a little bit of press and I get so hot. TV lights, stage lights." Then Hillary says, "You guys are the first to realize that I'm really not even a human being." This was funny. The tone was light. They all laughed. Then she says, "I was constructed in a garage in Palo Alto a very long time ago. People think that, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, they created it. Oh no, I mean a man whose name shall remain nameless created me in his garage." Look, I get this could be a joke, but it took a weird turn, did it not? The "I'm not even a human" part? Okay, that's a funny joke, sure. But constructed in a garage in Palo Alto? What kind of detail is that? At the same time, what am I even saying? A billion clones? Facilities in China? Handlers? And Hillary Clinton's a clone? And why the fuck do I keep mentioning animals that dig holes? It's really not funny. But in the spirit of that truly awful bit I've overcommitted to, let's continue down the Tasmanian devil hole, my friends.
Right, so I actually wanted to add a Looney Tunes sample here, but I don't think Warner Brothers would be happy, so yeah, I can't believe I just did that. Back to you.
Remember the concept I asked you to stick on an imaginary bulletin board before? Traits of clones, like Zac Efron's puffy face. Let's revisit that now. So the most common traits of clones, according to the Family of Taygeta, and this is across the board. 1. No sweat or tears. Interesting how this was noted on that BuzzFeed podcast, isn't it, Duff Guy? Apparently clones don't sweat or cry unless this function is added by doctors. 2. Puffy face. New clones often have a puffy face or a plastic, unnatural look which fades over time. This can also be cosmetic surgery unrelated to cloning. I've actually seen Cobb tweet about Zac Efron, Amy Schumer, and Tom Cruise all displaying this. Don't cancel me, that's just what he tweeted. 3. No DNA. Rapid human cloning doesn't pass any DNA to the clone. Freaks. 4. No reproduction. Without a soul or DNA, a rapidly aged human clone is unable to reproduce. Clone families are installed with clone children pre-aged to a point and then allowed to age normally. All right, this turned into a horror movie quickly. 5. Forgetfulness. Clones are prone to misremembering past events in their own lifetime, especially when given new information regularly. I mean, that just sounds relatable. 6. Bruising and swelling. Clones used for high-level agendas may have a swollen eye or bruising from updates through the eye. Feel free to chipmunk hole yourselves, my friends, because this phenomena is all over social media. But I know. I also realize I need to stop using that sound effect, but I need you to understand once again that I'm aware how crazy this all sounds. Cloned families with pre-installed clone children? Am I really insinuating I believe this? It's hard to say what I believe as a spiritual skeptic. See what I did there? But god damn it, I can't stop digging down the bilby hole. And for those of you that don't know, bilbies are mice-looking creatures from Australia.
I'm actually quite glad you clarified, because I was just about to whistle a tune from Lord of the Rings.
You're welcome. So, to kind of put a TLDR on everything today, here's a mishmash of some more, don't get sick of me bringing them up because we're just getting started, Family of Taygeta quotes. Many A-list celebrities use clones to perform in movies, television, or on stage. This provides more freedom, security, and income. A celebrity clone can travel around the world and perform to sold-out arenas without requiring the real person to ever leave home. Sounds amazing, honestly. Clones could be used to perform dangerous film stunts or used as a distraction for paparazzi. They can also be used to permanently replace a celebrity to maintain a source of income after their death or arrest. My honest fantasy is having a clone to go to any wedding I'm ever invited to. That is my dream. Continuing. Not every celebrity who uses clones is part of the Cabal. Some see it as a financial investment, and some are convinced that having a clone with all their memories and abilities grants them immortality. There are also examples where a celebrity with no connection to the Cabal has been replaced completely by a clone and used for a dark agenda. Jim Carrey is, of course, from before an example of this. Cloning in politics began with Bill Clinton in the 1990s. This is advantageous for media and politics because a clone can be sent anywhere in the world, give speeches, or perform other undesirable tasks. The presence of a clone may or may not signify the original person is gone. All of this has been deemed to be too traumatic for humans to hear all at once. Full disclosure can only happen after the shift occurs, when humans are capable of receiving such information without anger or fear. The shift is what we'll discuss in the finale of Season 1, which is the theory that humanity will be shifting to a new world, which again, I know that sounds crazy, but after digesting all of that, honestly, I wouldn't mind heading to a new world. In part 2 of this episode, we'll finish deep diving into the Family of Taygeta. Who exactly are they? What's their social media presence all about? And what happened when I started corresponding with them? Spoiler alert, it was awesome. You're still here. My God. Guess I'm not the only crazy one after all. Until next time, this is Seth Burkowski signing off. Stay weird, you beautiful bastards.